Eh, eh.
We are live.
We are live.
Yeah, I made a cup of tea this morning, and I got all the way through to pouring the milk, and I poured the milk in, and it curdled, and I was like, no. We had more milk. We had another carton, so that part was okay, but I had to remake it.
Right? Yeah. You can't. There's no coming back from that.
No, gross.
I had coffee this morning. Drinking coffee too often used to give me like heart palpitations, but it hasn't been doing that lately. So I'm like, yay, trade off. Dealing with my health issues is like shooting at the Borg. Every couple weeks, I'm like, all right, now I have to figure out what this is
Hmm.
and fix it, and might want to stop using old methods because those don't work anymore.
On a very much lower level, I feel you. I'm like, really? We can't eat cheese anymore? What is this? Did I tell you about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gives you stomach aches, cramps.
Mm-hmm. It upsets my stomach, yeah. It's very sad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm finally having like normal feeling gut action, and one of the things I've been doing is I've got like a stone ball yay big, and doing clockwise massages morning and evening. I'm like, this is new. It's hippy dippy crap. It might be doing damage, but I'm gonna try it, and it ended up helping a bit. So I'm like,
Well, that's like a thing is like if you have gas or something trapped, you massage to kind of stimulate the muscles. So that makes perfect sense.
yeah, it does. And I don't know if I'm doing it right, and I don't know if I'm doing it too hard and bruising myself or what, but it's
Well, I mean, I would think you would be able to tell if you were bruising yourself.
right. And it's a bit of a Hail Mary. Like I've got weeks before I'm getting tested and then weeks before they give me a prognosis, and in the meantime I'm suffering. So it's like, we'll try this. Maybe it'll work.
Is this the diverticulitis?
No, it's the incontinence to patient. I think I have a blockage because it started when they scoped me in January, and it hasn't been normal since. And I've tried everything that worked last year. Everything that helped me last year is doing fuck all this year. So I'm like,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. I'm on an upswing, so like I can handle all of the things.
Good.
And also like do makeup and
The makeup looks good. I noticed.
Thank you. I shouldn't do it. It's bad for my face, but I wanted to.
That's a good reason to.
This is how we live dangerously now.
Look, in 2020, something.
Everyone's living dangerously, so you don't have to put in a lot of effort.
Yes. Yeah, living dangerously is like, should I go to the store?
No, don't go in there. Don't do it.
I went to Trader Joe's last time instead of King Soopers, and it was so much better. King Soopers is just a nightmare.
King Soopers is rough. I want to head up to Sprouts. I've run out of someone somewhere makes maple vinegar, and I like putting apple cider vinegar in my drinking water, but I really like putting maple vinegar in my drinking water. So I've run out. I need more.
Yeah. All right. Let me open up this book and see where we were, other than still counseling forever and ever.
At some point, I'll get this up on a thing so that it's a nicer angle. See how look, no more nostrils.
Men hate nostrils.
Love her.
She's great.
Oh,
yeah, I used to like sit on the floor and put the computer on my bed so it'd be a more flattering angle, but like more than 2 months into isolation, I no longer care.
fair enough.
I'm like, can you see underneath my chin? Yes. Okay.
So you've got the bone structure for it. I just look like a pudding from underneath. But don't get used to me trying to be flattering and make-up-y, because this is one of those. It's a manic upswing. Eventually, it will stop. That's okay. We can ride it. We surf the mood sea.
Sure.
No?
No, I support you. I'm just too sleepy to come up with something clever to say.
Okay, then. I'm going to mute so I can put you down.
Okay, I'm going to find my place.
Check.
Also, I'm going to drink some tea.
Drink the tea. And I'm going to see if my lamp has burnt out yet, because the battery hasn't been replaced, because I am careless. Yeah. Oh no, I have not replaced that battery. How's the light look from out there? Should I go get a battery and
It looks fine.
Okay. Then I will refrain. I'll do it next time.
That sounds like a plan.
Of course I wear makeup without reading. Everyone can just imagine how pretty I still look. Oh, fuck all kinds of duck. I left my paintbrushes upstairs. Okay, you go ahead. I'll be right back. Or
Okay.
do you need my help to find a place?
No, I found it.
Sweet. Get going.
Okay. So, as you may recall, Gandalf had just found out that Frodo is not dead, and he was cursing and blessing Barlaman at the same time. He blessed his beer. He had a night's rest, the first since he couldn't remember when. So I stayed there that night, wondering much what had become of the riders, for only of two had there yet been any news in Bree, it seemed. But in the night we heard more. 5 at least came from the west, and they threw down the gates and passed through Bree like a howling wind, and the Bree folk are still shivering and expecting the end of the world. Like you would be. I got up before dawn and went after them. I do not know, but it seems clear to me that this is what happened. Their captain remained in secret, in secret away south of Bree, while two... yeah. I was hoping you hadn't heard that.
My timing is impeccable. You can't peck it.
I really want to peck it, though.
But you can't.
All right, let's see. While 2 rode ahead through the village, and 4 more invaded the Shire. But when these were foiled in Bree and at Crick Hollow, they returned to their captain with tidings, and so left the road unguarded for a while, except by their spies. The captain then sent some eastward, straight across country, and he himself rode with the rest along the road in great wrath. I galloped to Weathertop like a gale, and I reached it before sundown on my second day from Bree. Okay, how's it going to take you like 2 days to get from Rohan to Bree, and then also 2 days to get from Bree to Weathertop? It's not consistent.
Maybe you're right.
Because I did the math on Frodo spent 2 days getting from. Oh no, because they walked through the Shire for like 3 days. Okay, all right, that makes more sense. I feel better.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right. Let's see. Anyway, I galloped to Weathertop like a gale, and I reached it before sundown on my second day from Bree, and they were there before me. They drew away from me, for they felt the coming of my anger, and they dared not face it while the sun was in the sky. But they closed round at night, and I was besieged on the hilltop in the old ring of Amon Sul. I was hard put to it indeed. Such light and flame cannot have been seen on Weathertop since the war beacons of old. At sunrise I escaped and fled towards the north. I could not hope to do more. It was impossible to find you, Frodo, in the wilderness, and it would have been folly to try with all the 9 at my heels. So I had to trust to Aragorn. But I hoped to draw some of them off, and yet reach Rivendell ahead of you and send out help. 4 riders did indeed follow me, but they turned back after a while and made for the ford, it seems. That helped a little, for there were only 5, not 9, when your camp was attacked. I reached here at last by a long, hard road, up the Horwell and through the Etten Moors, and down from the north. It took me nearly 14 days from Weathertop, for I could not ride among the rocks of the Trollfells, and Shadowfax departed. I sent him back to his master, but a great friendship has grown between us, and if I have need, he will come at my call. But so it was that I came to Rivendell only 3 days before the ring, and news of its peril had already been brought here, which proved well indeed. And that, Frodo, is the end of my account. May Elrond and the others forgive the length of it, but such a thing has not happened before, that Gandalf broke tryst and did not come when he promised. Yet he's usually a very reliable tryster.
In 3,000 years, he's never broken an appointment. That's fucking awesome.
I mean, we should all be so lucky. I'm like,
right.
Gandalf never stands up a Tinder date.
Right? Not once. Or a D&D session.
Nope.
We could all learn from him. What, you can't come to the campaign today? What, does Saruman have you?
Let's see. An account to the ring-bearer of so strange an event was required, I think. Well, the tale is now told from first to last. Here we all are, and here is the ring. But we have not yet come any nearer to our purpose. What shall we do with it? Okay, I need to plug in my computer real quick.
What shall we do? We shall discuss for 9 pages the fact that no one can wield it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There was a silence. At last, Elrond spoke again. This is grievous news concerning Saruman, he said, for we trusted him, and he is deep in all our counsels. It is perilous to study too deeply the arts of the enemy, for good or for ill. But such falls and betrayals, alas, have happened before. Yeah, no shit.
Right?
Of the tales that we have heard this day, the tale of Frodo was most strange to me. I have known few hobbits save Bilbo here, and it seems to me that he is perhaps not so alone and singular as I had thought him. The world has changed much since I last was on the westward roads.
Yeah, you homebody.
Look, if you had a house that was so perfect that everyone who came there never wanted to leave, you would stay home too.
I totally would, yeah. In fact, I am.
So am I. Let me see here. The Barrow-wights we know by many names, and of the old forest many tales have been told. All that now remains is but an outlier of its northern march. Time was when a squirrel could go from tree to tree from what is now the Shire to Dunland west of Isengard. In those lands I journeyed once, and many things wild and strange I knew. But I had forgotten Bombadil, if indeed this is still the same that walked the woods and hills long ago, and even then was older than the old. That was not then his name. Yarwen Ben-Adar we called him, oldest and fatherless. But many another name he has since been given by other folk, Forn by the dwarves, Orald by northern men, and many names beside. He is a strange creature, but maybe I should have summoned him to our council. He would not have come, said Gandalf. Could we not still send messages to him and obtain his help? Asked Aristor. It seems that he has a power even over the ring. No, I should not put it so, said Gandalf. Say rather that the ring has no power over him. He is his own master, but he
Tomato,
cannot
potato.
but he cannot alter the ring itself, nor break its power over others. And now he's withdrawn into a little land within bounds that he has set, though none can see them, waiting perhaps for a change of days, and he will not step beyond them. But within those bounds nothing seems to dismay him, said Aristor. Would he not take the ring and keep it there, forever harmless?
No.
No, said Gandalf, not willingly. He might do so if all the free folk of the world begged him, but he would not understand the need. And if he were given the ring, he would soon forget it, or most likely throw it away. Such things have no hold on his mind. He would be a most unsafe guardian, and that alone is answer enough. Hang on, my computer's really warm on my lap. I gotta put it up. There we go. There we go. And that alone is answer enough. But in any case, said Glorfindel, to send the ring to him would only postpone the day of evil. He is far away. We could not now take it back to him, unguessed and unmarked by any spy. And even if we could, soon or late the Lord of the Rings would learn of its hiding place and would bend all his power towards it. Could that power be defied by Bombadil alone? I think not. I think that in the end, if all else is conquered, Bombadil will fall, last as he was first, and then night will come. I know little of Iarwain save the name, said Galdor, but Glorfindel I think is right. Power to defy our enemy is not in him, unless such power is in the earth itself. And yet we see that Sauron can torture and destroy the very hills. What power still remains lies with us, here in Imladris, or with Círdan at the Havens, or in Lorien. But have they the strength, have we here the strength, to withstand the enemy, the coming of Sauron at the last, when all else is overthrown? I have not the strength, said Elrond. Neither have they. Then if the ring cannot be kept from him forever by strength, said Glorfindel, two things remain for us to attempt, to send it over the sea, or to destroy it. But Gandalf has revealed to us that we cannot destroy it by any craft that we here possess, said Elrond. Sorry, the direct quotes from like that the movie quoted directly are always fun.
Yes.
It cannot be destroyed,
By
Gimli, son of Gloin, by any craft we here possess.
Go, Hugo Weaving! We love you so.
And they who dwell beyond the sea would not receive it. For good or ill, it belongs to Middle-earth. It is for us who still dwell here to deal with it. Then, said Glorfindel, let us cast it into the deeps, and so make the lies of Saruman come true. For it is clear now that even at the council, his feet were already on a crooked path. He knew that the ring was not lost forever, but wished us to think so, for he began to lust for it for himself. Yet oft in lies truth is hidden. In the sea it would be safe. Not safe forever, said Gandalf. There are many things in the deep waters, and seas and lands may change. I'm just picturing a squid wearing the ring, Lord of the Squids.
Squid of the Rings.
And it is not our part here to take thought only of a season, or for a few lives of men, or for a passing age of the world. We should seek a final end to this menace, even if we do not hope to make one. And that we shall not find on the roads to the sea, said Galdor. If the return to Iarwain be thought too dangerous, then flight to the sea is now fraught with gravest peril. My heart tells me that Sauron will expect us to take the western way when he learns what has befallen. He soon will. The 9 have been unhorsed, indeed, but that is but a respite ere they find new steeds and swifter. Only the waning might of Gondor stands now between him and a march in power along the coasts into the north. And if he comes assailing the white towers and the havens, hereafter the elves may have no escape from the lengthening shadows of Middle-earth. We can't fly to the suburbs. No, we can't have that.
But damn it!
Long yet will that march be delayed, said Boromir. Gondor wanes, you say, but Gondor stands, and even the end of its strength is still very strong.
Right.
And yet its
city, bastard.
And yet its vigilance can no longer keep back the nine, said Galdor. Oh.
He went there.
And other roads he may find that Gondor does not guard. Then, said Arestor, there are but two courses, as Glorfindel already has declared, to hide the ring forever or to unmake it. But both are beyond our power. Who will read this riddle for us? None here can do so, said Elrond gravely. At least none can foretell what will come to pass if we take this road or that.
What are we doing here?
But it seems to me now clear that which is the road that we must take. The westward road seems easiest. Therefore it must be shunned. It will be watched. Too often the elves have fled that way. Now at this last we must take a hard road, a road unforeseen. There lies our hope, if hope it be, to walk into peril, to Mordor. We must send the ring to the fire. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun.
Tea break.
When you say we.
Silence fell again. And Frodo, even in that fair house, looking out upon a sunlit valley filled with the noise of clear waters, felt a dead darkness in his heart. Depression. That's depression.
That's depression.
Boromir stirred, and Frodo looked at him. He was fingering his great horn and frowning. Hey, you can't do that in the middle of the council, dude.
Tolkien was way too innocent for this audience.
Yeah, a little bit. At length he spoke. Also, I'd say it's just average, probably. Just based on how much he feels he needs to prove.
Yeah. The horn isn't great. It's an average horn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That doesn't sound as good, though.
I do not
horn, man. He fingered his average horn? Nah.
Look, everyone wants to think that theirs is a great horn. All right, let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah, at length he spoke. I do not understand all this, he said. Saruman is a traitor, but did he not have a glimpse of wisdom? Why do you speak ever of hiding and destroying? Why should we not think that the great ring has come into our hands to serve us in the very hour of need? Wielding it, the free lords of the free may surely defeat the enemy. That is what he most fears, I deem. The men of Gondor are valiant, and they will never submit, but they may be beaten down. Valor needs first strength, and then a weapon. Let the ring be your weapon if it has such power as you say. Take it, and go forth to victory. Alas, no, said Elrond. We cannot use the ruling ring. That we now know too well. It belongs to Sauron, and was made by him alone, and is altogether evil. Its strength, Boromir, is too great for anyone to wield at will, even those, save only those who have already a great power of their own. But for them, it holds an even deadlier peril. The very desire of it corrupts the heart. Consider Saruman. If any of the wise should with this ring overthrow the Lord of Mordor using his own arts, he would then set himself on Sauron's throne, and yet another dark lord would appear. And that is another reason why the ring should be destroyed. As long as it is in the world, it will be a danger, even to the wise. For nothing is evil in the beginning. Even Sauron was not so. I fear to take the ring to hide it. I will not take the ring to wield it. Nor I, said Gandalf.
Not that anyone asked me.
Yeah. Right? Everyone's like, thanks?
Okay.
You volunteered that very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Boromir looked at them doubtfully, but he bowed his head. So be it, he said. Then in Gondor we must trust to such weapons as we have. And at the least, while the wise ones guard this ring, we will fight on. Mayhap the sword that was broken will stem the tide. If the hand that wields it has inherited not an heirloom only, but the sinews of the kings of men. Ooh, girl.
Ooh. Aragorn, what do you say to that?
Who can tell? Said Aragorn. But we will put it to the test one day. Aragorn has a lot of BDE. He has nothing to prove.
Not a bit.
Did you inherit the strength of your ancestors?
Maybe.
Who can say? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Let's see. No rush.
May the day not
you.
What?
Not gonna arm wrestle you or anything to prove it, so no.
May the day not be too long delayed, said Boromir. For though I do not ask for aid, we need it.
Okay.
Hint. It would comfort us to know that others fought also, with all the means that they have. Are y'all lazy fuckers or what?
Right? Fuck.
Then be comforted, said Elrond. For there are other powers and realms that you know not, and they are hidden from you. Anduin the Great flows past many shores ere it comes to Argonath and the gates of Gondor. Boromir's kind of just like a little kid in the room at this point, and he has no idea. He's just sitting there like, we're the only ones that are helping. Like, nobody else is helping with the chores. Nobody's doing anything. Like, I always have to unload the dishwasher. And Elrond's sitting there like, kid, you have no idea what I'm doing after you're in bed. Don't even try.
Don't even go there. Like, and you don't get to know. Sorry, but that's privileged information. We don't have the time to explain it all to you.
I forget what accent I was giving Gloin, so whatever.
Doesn't matter. Sort of kind of got it. Maybe well. Maybe pirate.
Still, it might be well for all. Nah, I don't like that one. Said Gloin the dwarf. If all these strengths were joined and the powers of each were used in league. Other rings there may be, less treacherous, that might be used in our need. The 7 are lost to us, if Balin has not found the ring of Thror, which was the last. Naught has been heard of it since Thror perished in Moria. Indeed, I may now reveal that it was partly in hope to find that ring that Balin went away. Balin will find no ring in Moria, said Gandalf. Thror gave it to Thrain his son, but not Thrain to Thorin. It was taken with torment from Thrain in the dungeons of Dol Guldur. I came too late. Ah, alas, cried Gloin. When will the day come of our revenge? But still there are the 3. What of the 3 rings of the elves? Very mighty rings, it is said. Do not the elf lords keep them? Yet they too were made by the Dark Lord long ago. Are they idle? I see elf lords here. Will they not say?
Wrong.
The elves returned no answer. Did you not hear me, Gloin? Said Elrond. The 3 were not made by Sauron, nor did he ever touch them. But of them it is not permitted to speak. Okay, that is an answer.
We do not speak.
Right? I'm like, the elves returned no answer. He literally just answered the question. So, they did in fact return an answer.
Other elves returned no answer. The elves at large returned no answer. There was an awkward pause.
So much only in this hour of doubt I may now say. They are not idle. But they were not made as weapons of war or conquest. That is not their power. Those who made them did not desire strength or domination or hoarded wealth, but understanding, making, and healing, to preserve all things unstained. These things the elves in Middle-earth have in some measure gained, though with sorrow. But all that was wrought by those who wield the three will turn to their undoing, and their minds and hearts will be revealed to Sauron if he regains the one. It would be better if the three had never been. That is his purpose. But what then would happen if the ruling ring were destroyed, as you counsel? Said Glowing. We know not for certain, answered Elrond sadly. Some hope that the three rings, which Sauron has never touched, would then become free, and their rulers might heal the hurts of the world that he has wrought. But maybe when the one has gone, the three will fail, and many fair things will fade and be forgotten. That is my belief.
It's a matter destroyer. It will destroy the universe in about 13 seconds, but some of us think it's a matter rearranger.
Oh God, what's that? Oh, that's from fucking Galaxy Quest, right?
I always think of that when Elrond's like, no one knows what will happen, but we're gonna find out.
I need to rewatch that. That's a good movie.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
One of my coworkers was having plumbing issues the other day, and we were like, "What's happening?" And he's like, "Well, I want to say a quote from Galaxy Quest, but I don't think anyone will get it." And I was like, "I'll get it." He was like, "It turned inside out, and then it exploded." Let's see. Yet all elves are willing to endure this chance, said Glorfindel, if by it the power of Sauron may be broken, and the fear of his dominion be taken away forever. Thus we return once more to the destroying of the ring, said Aristor, and yet we come no nearer. What strength have we for the finding of the fire in which it was made? That is the path of despair. Of folly, I would say, if the long wisdom of Elrond did not forbid me. Despair or folly? Said Gandalf. It is not despair, for despair is only for those who see the end beyond all doubt. We do not.
Plenty of that later.
It is... I like that argument against despair that Tolkien makes frequently in this book, which is like, unless you actually know for sure what's going to happen, which you don't.
Yeah.
You don't get to despair.
And, like, and you can be absolutely certain, but that's totally hubris. Like, you can even have evidence, which is what happened to Denethor, happens later to Denethor. Like, when he looks in the Palantir, if you look at the timeline, he sees Frodo naked and robbed in a tower of orcs, and he sees black sails sailing up the river, and that's what drives him mad. He's like, how can this be anything but terrible news? And he's wrong. So all the evidence in the world, you can still be wrong, is what I'm getting from his... It's a good message.
Yep, and when you act out of despair, all you do is make it more likely that what you fear is going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One often meets one's destiny on the road one takes to avoid it.
Let's see. We do not. It is wisdom to recognize necessity when all other courses have been weighed, though as folly it may appear to those who cling to false hope. Well, let folly be our cloak, a veil before the eyes of the enemy, for he is very wise, and weighs all things to a nicety in the scales of his malice.
Malice. Oh, I love that phrase.
But the only measure that he knows is desire for power, and so he judges all hearts. Into his heart the thought will not enter that any will refuse it, that having the ring we may seek to destroy it. If we seek this, we shall put him out of reckoning. At least for a while, said Elrond. The road must be trod, but it will be very hard, and neither strength nor wisdom will carry us far upon it. This quest may be attempted by the weak with as much hope as the strong. Yet such is oft the course of deeds that move the wheels of the world. Small hands do them because they must, while the eyes of the great are elsewhere.
Hint.
Very well, Master Elrond, said Bilbo suddenly. Say no more. It is plain enough what you are pointing at, and Bilbo the silly hobbit started this affair, and Bilbo had better finish it, or himself. I was very comfortable here and getting on with my book. If you want to know, I am just writing an ending for it. I had thought of putting, and he lived happily ever afterwards to the end of his days. It is a good ending, and none the worse for having been used before. Now I shall have to alter that. It does not look like coming true. And anyway, there will evidently have to be several more chapters if I live to write them. It is a frightful nuisance. When ought I to start?
God, I love Bilbo.
Fucking Bilbo, man.
Fucking awesome Bilbo.
Boromir looked in surprise at Bilbo, but the laughter died on his lips when he saw that all the others regarded the old hobbit with grave respect. Only Glóin smiled, but his smile came from old memories.
He'd do it too. He totally would. If they were like, all right, take it, go. He would
He
have
would!
put it into Mordor.
100%.
Oh, love you, Bilbo.
I was reading a thing that was talking about how The Hobbit is Bilbo's account of what happened, and Bilbo is a guy who jokes about the things that were the most serious and scary. So when
Yep.
you read the tone of it, you have to think about how that actually was to experience.
Right? Like the bit where Thorin is making a speech about Bilbo needing to literally walk into a dragon's den to fulfill his end of the contract. He interrupts him to say, "Oh, Thorin, Thrain's son, may your beard grow ever longer." Shut up. Like,
Yeah. And so the whole like the light tone and the like, this was so funny, that was so funny, like actually it was not funny.
right. Trolls eating us.
I definitely don't have PTSD, it's fine.
No. I wouldn't mind. No.
Yep. Let's see. Of course, my dear Bilbo, said Gandalf. If you had really started this affair, you might be expected to finish it. But you know well enough now that starting is too great a claim for any, and that only a small part is played in great deeds by any hero. You need not bow, though the word was meant, and we do not doubt that under jest you are making a valiant offer. But one beyond your strength, Bilbo. You cannot take this thing back. It is passed on. If you need my advice any longer, I should say that your part is ended, unless as a recorder. Finish your book and leave the ending unaltered. There is still hope for it. But get ready to write a sequel when they come back. Bilbo laughed. I have never known you give me pleasant advice before, he said. As all your unpleasant advice has been good, I wonder if this advice is not bad. Still, I don't suppose I have the strength or luck left to deal with the ring. It has grown, and I have not. But tell me, what do you mean by they? The messengers who are sent with the ring. Exactly. And who are they to be? And see, that seems to me what this council has to decide, and all that it has to decide. Elves may thrive on speech alone, and dwarves endure great weariness. But I am only an old hobbit, and I miss my meal at noon. Can't you think of some names now, or put it off till after dinner? I forgot that this was actually going to happen, but I did title this episode Bilbo Wants Lunch.
Perfect.
No one answered. The noon bell rang. Still no one spoke. Frodo glanced at all the faces, but they were not turned to him. All the council sat with downcast eyes as if in deep thought. A great dread fell on him, as if he was awaiting the pronouncement of some doom that he had long foreseen, and vainly hoped might after all never be spoken. An overwhelming longing to rest and remain at peace by Bilbo's side in Rivendell filled all his heart. At last, with an effort, he spoke, and wondered to hear his own words, as if some other will was using his small voice. I will take the ring, he said, though I do not know the way. Elrond raised his eyes and looked at him, and Frodo felt his heart pierced by the sudden keenness of the glance. If I understand aright all that I have heard, he said, I think that this task is appointed for you, Frodo, and that if you do not find a way, no one will. This is the hour of the Shire folk, when they arise from their quiet fields to shake the towers and councils of the great. Who of all the wise could have foreseen it? Or if they are wise, why should they expect to know it until the hour has struck?
Gandalf kind of saw it. At least he's been hanging out in the Shire all this time.
Right? But it is a heavy burden, so heavy that none could lay it on another. I do not lay it on you. But if you take it freely, I will say that your choice is right. And though all the mighty elf friends of old, Hador and Hurin and Turin and Baron himself were assembled together, your seat should be among them. And it will be, because you're gonna go into the West later.
Right?
Spoiler.
You
That's
know,
gonna happen.
it's always, ever since I read the tale of Hurin's children, it confuses me that Turin is referred to as this great hero, because he's just a hard luck magnet. Like, he's also very brave and stuff, but he's got, like, he stabbed his best friend to death because it was foggy, and he accidentally impregnated his sister because she had amnesia given to her by a dragon, and like all of his
I'm sorry,
friends,
what?
yeah, and she
But
throws herself off a cliff, and then he thinks that his oldest friend, who's still alive, is the reason she's dead. So he kills him, like strangles him to death, and goes mad. Like, Turin is fucked. His entire story is like
Turin sounds like a Greek tragedy. Jeez.
more so, yeah. The whole point of Sauron focuses on it isn't Sauron, is it? It's Morgoth at that point because it's up north. But Hurin is like the greatest hero ever. He's got 2 kids. He gets captured by the enemy, and he refuses to give away his friends or main like forsake his honor. So he gets strapped to the side of a mountain and given magical vision to watch what happens to his family, and then the enemy focuses their energies on dooming them, just fucking them over. Yeah. So Turing gets mentioned, and I'm like, oh, do you really want to associate with sister impregnating, friend stabbing, accidental, like, bad luck charm to everyone he meets?
Well, but that wasn't his fault.
No.
That was Morgoth. Morgoth is dead.
Morgoth is very dead.
So presumably now he's doing okay. Hopefully getting a lot of therapy.
A lot of therapy.
Like a lot of therapy.
Yeah, and so would she be, I hope. His sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like 8.5 months pregnant when the dragon gave her back her memory, and she realized that her true love and her brother were the same guy.
How did he not notice?
They were separated when they were very young.
Oh. You know, that's actually a thing. Like, that's a phenomenon. If you separate siblings when they're very, very young and they meet as adults, sometimes they fall in like really passionate love.
Right? Because they sense that connection. And that,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they understand really what the cause is. Like, maybe it's that, but they call it genetic sexual attraction. That you can meet someone, not know they're related to you, but just be incredibly attracted to them and not know why.
which is one of the reasons I was determined to know if I had any siblings by my bio dad.
A good choice. Yeah. Because that would be, yikes.
Or, actually my main thing was, I have kids. If I have siblings with kids and they meet and fall in love, we just need to know. It's good to know where your blood is.
Yeah. It's, I mean, it is legal for first cousins to marry.
Kind
It
of
doesn't mean
gross.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I would not recommend it, but I do know that it is legal in most states.
With a whole gene pool to choose from, I wouldn't want to be going there.
I mean, not if you're planning to have kids, for sure.
Exactly.
That's how. Do you want Habsburgs? That's how you get Habsburgs.
Let's not do that. Although all of my kids aren't planning to have kids, they're planning to have corgis.
I think that's a very fair choice.
Right? Anyway,
I mean, as I say, as the person in our family who's not having kids.
We've got 5 minutes.
We're almost at the end of the chapter, so it's going to be perfect.
Perfect.
Your seat should be among them. But you won't send him off alone, surely, master, cried Sam, unable to contain himself any longer, and jumping up from the corner where he had been quietly sitting on the floor. No, indeed, said Elrond, turning towards him with a smile. You at least shall go with him. It is hardly possible to separate you from him, even when he is summoned to a secret council, and you are not. Sam sat down, blushing and muttering. A nice pickle we've landed ourselves in, Mr. Frodo, he said, shaking his head. That's the end of the chapter.
Yay.
I was reading a couple of things where people were talking about, like, first of all, hobbits are so stealthy that they can sneak into a secret council and no one notices. Because Sam's been there the whole time. He's just been sitting in the corner and just no one saw him. Because hobbits are so stealth. But also that there was someone had a headcanon, like, what if hobbits like all types of mushrooms? So they're just like eating poisonous mushrooms all the time. And everyone else is like, oh God, no. And they're like, what? These are delicious. And then, and that their tolerance for poison is why Frodo and Sam could survive in Mordor. Because the air and water are literally toxic.
Yeah.
So that's why Sauron doesn't worry about people getting in, and he's always worried about trying to capture enemies on the borders, because they'll die if they spend any time there. So he's trying to keep them alive long enough to question them.
Right.
But Frodo and Sam are just like, do, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we're mildly ill. We don't like this very much, but like, we're fine.
Yeah.
And that's why he never suspects them.
And they've got Lembas, which might help mitigate any of the worst poisonous effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Lembas bread. One bite is enough to fill the stomach of a full-grown man.
There's a Tolkien professor person who brings up the fact that it seems ridiculous that Bilbo is cast as a burglar, that Gandalf seriously missed his mark with that one, except if you think about it, Bilbo contains one of the skill of a burglar. He moves silently and invisibly. And was he moving, like, literally invisibly, but because he's a hobbit, of course he makes an ideal burglar.
And he's also very small, and he can sneak into like small openings that larger people couldn't. And yeah, it was a very logical choice.
It was. One of the few things I liked about the movies was that they made that make sense. The book just said, you need a warrior, I couldn't find one, so you're getting a burglar. And it's like, for the whole horde? What? Why? What? Like a burglar kill the dragon? What the? But for them to be like, no, they need to unite the dwarfs with the Arkenstone. So they've got the burglar for this one specific purpose. And it's like, I think Tolkien would have liked that.
Yeah. I was reading a thing that was talking about how the whole problem with the Hobbit movies was that Warner Brothers took it over because they had, like, I don't know if they bought New Line or what, but that New Line did not interfere with Lord of the Rings. New Line was like, do what you want to do and just make it good. And Jackson was like, great, cool, fine. Warner Brothers, all of the changes that everybody hates, the fucking dwarf elf romance and the white whatever, and making it 3 movies instead of 1, and all this. Yeah. That was all studio notes.
Of course. We'll take money away unless you do this and this and this. And
yeah.
And you need to bring up the Lord of the Rings more often because you're only going to call in fans of that, which is why they just chat on the fans of the books so badly. Oh my God, the list of ways they insulted us. Was frustrating.
Yeah, I don't have the energy to feel that much rage, so let's not go into the list.
Yeah, and besides, I've written essays about it. If you want my opinion, go find my old blog. It's on Weebly. And you shall read at length what I thought was good and bad.
Indeed.
If you care that much.
Well, I'm going to go and have some breakfast.
Okie dokie. Can I bitch to you about a different author for a minute?
Sure.
Should we do it live, or should I refrain from getting sued?
I think I can end the broadcast and then we can just talk about it. Let me see. Let me see if we're still going to be here if I end the broadcast. If not, you can bitch to me next time before we start.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.